This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last classes, we have seen the demo part, like we have seen about the contents. So the codes what we are going to learn over here is full stack Java, and the contents what we are going to discuss is core Java. We go with the database concepts using MySQL. Then we go with the web technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, Angular, like this. Then we go with advanced Java. So where we go with the topics like servlets, JSP, and we go with the frameworks, like we discuss about Hibernate Framework. We go with Spring Framework. We even discuss Spring Boot, Microservices. Then we discuss some of the important real-time tools, and we go with a project, right? The duration is approximately 60 hours, so max 3 months, and the time is Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. IST, and the class will go for max 1 hour. And for US or Canada, it is Sunday to Thursday evening, right? So the recordings of the class will be shared to you. So once the class is done, within 2 hours, you are going to get your documents and recordings. So this is our day 1 demo part. More elaboration you can find in the recording again. And even we have seen about the programming concepts last class. So where we discussed about the meaning of comments, keywords, variables, data types, then declaration of a variable, and the concept of method or function, right? Now I'm going to rediscuss all these things once again when we enter into the basics part. Today let us move to the next one, that is Java introduction. Now, so before we enter into Java, let me ask one small question, that is, whenever we are developing software applications, we are having two approaches to develop the software applications. One is structure approach and one more is object oriented approach. Then can you take example programming languages which are structured programming? Which programming languages follow structured approach? So the older languages like C, Pascal, COBOL, all these are structured. Examples of object oriented?
Java's C Sharp.
Right, Java, .NET, Python. Okay, so C++, all these are object oriented. All these are what? Object oriented. So Java comes under as what? Object oriented programming language. You can say Java is an object oriented programming language. Java is what? It's an object oriented programming language developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystems. Developed by whom? By James Gosling at Sun Microsystems. Now, this Sun Microsystems is acquired by which company now? Any idea? Sun Microsystems is acquired by?
Oracle.
Very good. Oracle Corporation. It was done in 2010 year. Right? Now, in words, we should say Java is a product of Oracle Corporation. Now, Since Java is object-oriented programming language, so before we enter into this Java, we should have a basic idea on this object-oriented concepts. So today objective is we'll be discussing on this object-oriented concepts. So we're having the object-oriented concepts like objects, object, class, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So these are the object-oriented concepts or features. Now, so in order to enter into Java, we should have a basic idea on what is object, what is class. In order to enter into Java, what we require a basic idea on what is object, what is class. So today objective is we'll be understanding the two terms object and class so that entering into Java will be easy for us. And however, we are going to discuss all these features using Java, and this will take totally 5 classes for us to complete only on this object-oriented concepts using Java. Now, let us start off with the first term, object. The meaning of object is like any real-time entity. Any real-time entity is an object which has some features. Like example, if you consider a laptop, what features do you see in laptop before you purchase? What do you check before you purchase a laptop?
Like the processor, RAM.
Right, very good. The processor, the RAM capacity, hard disk capacity, the screen size, the make, the model, the color, price, all these things we are going to check. So these only we call features or properties. Like RAM capacity, hard disk capacity, price, color, model, all these are features or properties of an object. So if you are having some properties, if you are able to give some features, you can say object. How to define is like an object is a real-time entity which has identity, state, and behavior. Which has what? Identity, state, and behavior. Now, let me elaborate these 3 terms using an example. Let me draw a diagram for this. Object.png. So, whatever the document I'm typing, the diagrams, everything I'll be sharing with you. If you consider an object like a car, let me consider a car like Honda car. Now, how to identify a car uniquely? How to identify a car uniquely?
VIN number.
By using the registration number, right? So we go with some number like TS3456, some number. This is our ID. Then for a car, we go with the state. The meaning of state is like the properties what we see in the car. So the properties what we see in the car are like the make, model, color, price, capacity, like seating capacity, engine capacity, fuel type, like that, fuel type like this. Okay, this we call it as the state. The features, the properties, whatever we see in the car, we call it as state. This state, even we call it as data members. The terminologies are important today. This state, even we call it as data members or variables or properties or fields or attributes. So different people use different terminologies. I'm providing all the terminologies over here. For a car, that is for an object, we go with the behavior. So what is behavior is like the actions what we perform on the car. The actions what we perform on the car, that we call behavior. So what we can do with car? We can drive, we can change gear, we can reverse, we can stop, we can apply brake, like this. So whenever we say functionality, we end with the parenthesis like this. So this we call them as functionalities, behavior. So this behavior, we can even call it as a method or function. This behavior, we can even call it as what? A method or function. Or even we call it as operations. Okay, so what makes an object? It's a real-time entity which has identity, state and behavior. Clear these three terms, all of you? These three terms? Now, the next important definition is a class. A class. Now, so how to define a class is like a class is a collection of data members and methods, meaning the state of your object will act as data members inside your class. The behavior will act as methods inside your class. Like example, how to create a class in Java is by using a keyword class. So what do you mean by keyword? A predefined word where your language will understand. It's a predefined word. So by using a keyword class, and we go with the name of the class. Then open and close curly braces. So here we have taken a class person with open and close curly brace. So this open and close curly brace, we call them as block or scope. Call them as what? Block or scope. So scope means where it begins and where it is ending. So here the class person begins at this open curly brace and closes at this closing curly brace. Here we go with the data members, like for a person what we go? Age of the person, the name of the person, height of the person. So when these are like what? Variables. These data members are also called as variables. So in order to hold the data into this variable, we have to allocate memory for this variable. So in order to allocate memory, what we have to do? We have to mention the data type. So last video we have seen, no, last class what we have seen. So to allocate memory for variable, we have to declare it. How to declare? Just we have to provide the data type. So integer, it's a data type. So in age, we can store only integer values. So more about data type, everything I'll discuss once we come to basics. So in name, we go with collection of characters, alphabets. So we say string. Height, we go with a numeric value with a decimal point. We say float here. Now, it even goes with the methods. So what a person can do? A person can walk with some code inside. A person can eat, right? No. So this we call it as methods. So what is void? It's return type. So if you go with a method, this is called as method. So once in a method we write some code. So if the method is not returning any value, we use void keyword. So more about this I discussed in last class. So however we are going to discuss all these things again when we come to basics part. So for now just remember, whenever you go with a class, it goes with some data members and methods. Just to that point you understand. Now, once we create the class with some data members and methods outside of the class. So what do you mean by outside? After this curly braces, outside of the class, if you are trying to give value to age, then this will go with error. This goes with what? Error. So we cannot access these members outside of the class directly. We cannot access these members outside of the class directly. Then how to access these members outside means by using object. This is the major important point what I require to enter into Java. So what is that point? The members of the class. So when you say members, it can be your data members or it can be your methods. The members of the class are accessed using objects with the dot operator. So we can access these members using objects with what? Dot operator. Then how to create this object here? Creating objects. So how to create objects in Java is the syntax is. What is the meaning of syntax? The rules of language. The syntax is we go with the class name, then object name equal to new, again class name. Right? New is a keyword here. It's a keyword. Like example. So what is the class name we have created above? Person. What is our name of the class? Person. P space P equal to new person. In this, P is an object of class person. This P is what? It's an object of class person. Now using this P object with the dot operator, now we can give value to age. Using this P with the dot operator, now we can give value to name. Using this P with the dot operator, now we can give value to height. Like this. So using object with the dot operator only, we can access these members. So to call the method, again we use P dot walk, P dot eat. Right? So using with object with the dot operator only, we can access these members outside. Directly we cannot access. So this is the major important point what I require to enter into Java. Clear this point all of you? Any questions? Is anyone having any questions up to here?
Hi Raj, can you please repeat the syntax again? Like I did not quite catch it.
This one, this object creation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So first of all, the meaning of syntax is like rules of a language. Meaning, whenever we are going with any language, programming language, we have to follow some rules. Like we are having grammatical rules no, for English or any other language, same thing. So here also we follow the syntax. So the syntax of creating object in Java is we have to go with the class name. We have to take the class name, some object name like a variable equal to new. It's a keyword and again the class name with the parenthesis ending. So we are having a special meaning on this. We'll discuss later again. So for now, what is the name of the class? What is the class name we have created? Person. So take the same class name, some object name XYZ, anything, it can be anything here, equal to new, it's a keyword, and again the class name parenthesis. So in this P is an object of which class now? Person. Now using this P object only, with the dot operator, using with the P object with the dot operator, we can access these members. We can give value to the members and we can call even the methods also. Clear, Saikant?
Yes, sir.
Right? So don't worry too much on this. We'll be writing so many times. So this will automatically understood to us. Only for today objective, we should know we are having the two terms like object and class. Terms are important. Two terms. How to write the code, everything we slowly understand. So we are in two terms, what is object, what is class, and how to access members of class using object with the dot operator. That point you remember, that's enough. How to write the code, everything we'll be learning slowly. Okay, so many times we'll be writing. Clear everyone? No. So even though we discussed what is object, what is class, still we'll be having some confusion. What is object, what is class, how to differentiate it. Okay, so to elaborate more on this, let me take an example. Like, let's suppose if the client is coming to us, who is client? It can be a company or a person who is giving the requirements to develop a software project. Now, when the client comes to us, he gives the requirement. Now, we want to develop that project using object oriented. When we want to develop the project using object oriented, first of all, from the given requirement, we have to identify the objects. Then after identifying the objects, using that objects, we identify the classes. Now let us go with a small scenario. Using that scenario, we'll identify the objects, and using that objects, we'll identify the classes. Now, let me take the scenario. The concept is like identifying objects and classes. Now, let me take the scenario like Mr. XXX teaches Java at RRR Technologies. PPP attends Java sessions. Mrs. XXX teaches testing at the same company. Then QQQ attends testing sessions. Right? Now, this is a small scenario, small requirement given to us. From this, we have to identify the objects. How to identify the objects is the nouns in the scenario are your objects. The nouns are your objects. Now, what are the nouns here from beginning? What are the nouns here from beginning? Mr. XXX, right? Mr. XXX. Then next one, Java, RRR Technologies. Then PPP, Mrs. XXX, testing, and QQQ, right? So from this small requirement, these are the objects. Now the nouns are your objects. Now, once we identify the objects, the next step is we have to categorize the objects. Categorize is like if you take Mr. XXX and Mrs. XXX. So what is the role they are playing here? What these two people are called as?
Just teaching.
They are teachers, right? They are teachers, professors, faculty, lecturer, any name we can use. So I'm going with the name faculty. Now, next one. Java and testing. What these two are here? Good. Subjects, right? Subjects, technologies, course, right? So I'm going with the name course. RRR. It's an institute or company. Then PPP and QQQ. What these two are here?
Members who are attending these sessions.
Right, the students, candidates, attendees, like that. So I'm going with the name student. Right, so these four names what we got: faculty, course, company, student, the generic names. These four names we call them as classes. So we can even define a classes like a class is a collection of related objects. We can even define a class like what? It's a collection of related objects. So the real existing things are our objects. The generic names what we are using, we call them as what here? Classes. We call them as classes. Like if you consider our scenario only, myself means Raj. Raj is an object of class faculty. You people like Bhavani, Nitil, Ritik, Saikant, Kiran, you people. Okay, Navya, you people are what? Objects of class student. If you take our scenario now, right? The real existing things are objects. The generic names what you are using for your objects, we call them as what? Classes. Clear all of you? The difference between object and class?
Yes, Raj.
Yes, sir.
Right. So any questions, anyone? So let me stop here for today, just introductions part. So from tomorrow onwards, we'll be increasing the time near to 1 hour. As today is Monday, so many people from US or Canada, they get confused initial days that they won't be unable to join because of Sunday. Only initial days the problem will occur. So tomorrow, the next class, we'll enter into the practical part. Let us enter into the practical part. So where initially I'll be discussing about Java features. Then after that, we'll be learning how to download and install Java and how to develop a Java application. How to develop a Java application at command prompt. So that practical part we'll be entering in from tomorrow's class. So day after tomorrow, we'll be seeing about Eclipse IDE. How to download and install Eclipse and how to develop a Java application in Eclipse IDE. Right? Yeah. So thank you very much and see you tomorrow with the practical part. Thank
Raj,
you.
do you have any group, Discord group or something?
Nothing, no groups. We won't
No.
maintain any groups here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The communication will happen only through mails.
All right.
Okay, right. Yeah. And Saikant, you have made a note of my ID, right?
Yes, I did. I sent you an email.
Right. You can send a test mail. So within 2 hours, you are going to get our previous class recordings and even today's also. Okay. All right.
Did I miss any content in the previous class?
Only not content. Only this one. You might have missed this one. Like more elaboration on this after first day. Second day, I have just discussed this programming concepts. If you go through that, you feel simple to understand. Okay. So however, I'll be repeating all these things once again. Once we go with the basics part. Okay, Saikant.
Yeah, sure, Raj. Thank you.
Yeah. Nothing like missing. Everything will get repeated once again. Yeah. All right.
No problem.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raj.